Yeah, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you and ourselves, of course, to the Kismet Creative Center. This is my first time here, but it looks like a real beautiful place, a lot of good energy here. And what our energy represents tonight is the Celestial Theater. We are in a psychedelic theater that started in 1970, and we're still kind of cranking along here. So I brought some props along, I brought a mask along, and a helmet also. So we're going to be showing those first. Because right now we're in production for a show we call the Big No Name Show, which will be June 27th. It was supposed to be part of the Fringe Fest, but since they canceled out the street fringe part of it, we were kind of cast adrift. So we're still going to go down there on the streets of Grand Center and do some performing. So that's what we're bringing tonight. It's one of our costumes we'll be wearing, and one of the readings we'll be doing called Ubu, which was first performed in Paris in, I think, 1896, December 2nd. And of course, it was met with all this, people immediately hated the play that was happening. The guy couldn't even continue the production. So we're going to try a little bit of that tonight with the group reading. If you want to get involved in that, we'll be passing out information about that where you can follow along. According to the letter of the last name of the alphabet, A through M will read one set of lines, and the rest of you through Z will read the second set. Everybody ready for this?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Unscripted, I'm going to have a little comment. I hope that with our best efforts, we can preserve what stirred the hatred in that early group that first heard this. We will be honored if we somehow stir up this resentment against this kind of avant-garde art that we bring.
Yes, thank you. Please say this if you want to. Okay, I'm making up two props out of broomcorn root wads. And these are two of the kind of creations that we do. They're kind of fresh out the press kind of thing. And I might make a shaker out of them at some point. But for now, they're just kind of something that's crazy to carry around, and scare people. We want to keep that hatred going, people hate us. So anyway, don't be scared by this. It hasn't been energized yet here. It has a green one. But on June 27th, we're going to freak people out. So if anybody wants to have a look at these, go ahead and pass them up.
Put our energy into it now.
Okay, here we have a sample helmet that our theater produces, and this is, like I say, this is in production. You can see that got a first coat of black light paint on all these different forms here. The blue and these different colors here. So this will take, obviously 5, 10, 15, 25 hours to finish this up. And we have kind of a mask here, more for a female kind of thing here with this butterfly. And I didn't actually create this, but who did create this?
The creation of it is only a shadow of the object. I just want to let you know, please save your hate. Do not hate the helmet. Hate the performance itself, okay? I know there's a lot to hate in that helmet, but you got to hold it back.
And we usually perform with black lights and special effects and noise, sound effects. But so just use your imagination tonight.
Try that out. Please, try that out. Feel the energy. Do you feel good or do you feel bad? Great, all right, that's good enough. With this crowd, maybe the bad thing isn't a good way to go. He's got the feeling. All right, good. Okay, we're going to continue here, keep the ball rolling with this. This is one of the readings we've been doing at the last 3 Fringe festivals. There's 5 acts in this play. We went through, we was reading 1 act per year, but now since there's no more street fringe, we're going to combine the last 2 acts to finish this up. And then we're going to put it out on YouTube and everything. So anyway, this is a preface to the actual production that the producer read back in the theater in Paris, before the curtains went up. So Mike's going to read first, Mike Ketcher. And then me and I'll read second, Bill Cran's here, and Donnie Blake will finish up. Because he's afraid of words on paper. It scares him.
He just likes to make them up as he goes along. Okay, first I'll say, if you're French or you studied French, don't get mad at me if I mispronounce some words. I know how French people can be about pronunciation, so just don't get mad at me. I only took one semester French and I didn't do very well at it. Preface. Spoken by Jari before the curtain in the first performance of Ubu Reed. At the Théâtre de l'Oeuvre, Paris, 10th December 1896. Ladies and gentlemen, it would be superfluous, aside from a certain absurdity in an author speaking of his own play, for me to come here and preface with a few words this presentation of Ubu Reed, after such famous critics have cared to discuss it, among whom I thank, and with these few, all the others, M. Silvestre, Mendes, Scholl, Lorraine, and Bauer. If I did not feel that their benevolence had found Ubu's belly big with more satirical symbols than we can possibly pump up tonight. The Swedenborgian philosopher Mendes has excellently compared rudimentary creations with the most perfect and embryonic beings with the most complete, in that the former lack all irregularities, protuberances, and qualities, which leaves them in more or less spherical form, like the ovum and ubu, while the latter have added to many personal details that they remain equally spherical, following the axiom that the most polished object is that which presents the greater number of sharp corners. That is why you are free to set in number of sharp corners Rubu, however many allusions you care to, or else a simple puppet, a schoolboy's caricature of one of the performers who personified for him all the ugliness of the world. It is this aspect that the Theatre de l'Oeuvre will present tonight. Our actors have been willing to depersonalize themselves for 2 evenings and to act behind masks in order to express more perfectly the inner man, the soul of these overgrown puppets you are about to see. The play having been put on, what's that word? Prematurely. The print got smaller on this page. Prematurely, and with more enthusiasm than anything else. Ubu hasn't had time to get his real mask, which is very inconvenient to wear anyway, and the other characters will be found out like him, somewhat approximately.
Michael, and we continue. It seemed very important, as if we were to be quite like puppets. Ubu Re is a play that was never written for puppets, but for actors pretending to be puppets, which is not the same thing, of course. But for us to have carnival music and our orchestral parts have been allotted to various brasses, gongs, and speaking trumpet horns that we haven't had time to collect. We don't hold it too much against the Theatre de l'Oeuvre. Mainly, we wanted to see Ubu incarnate in the versatile talent of M. Jamer. And tonight and tomorrow night are the only 2 performances that M. Ginstry and his production of Hilliers Dayal Adam have been free to relinquish to us. We will proceed with the 3 acts that have been rehearsed, and 2 that have been rehearsed with certain cuts. I have made all the cuts the actors wanted, even cutting several passages indispensable to the meaning and equilibrium of the play, while leaving it at their request certain scenes that I would have been glad to cut. For however much we'd like to be marionettes, we haven't hung all our actors on strings. which, even if it weren't absurd, would have complicated things badly. In the same way, we haven't been too literal about our crowd scenes. Whereas in a puppet show, a handful of strings and pulleys will serve to command a whole army. You must expect to see important personages like M. Ubu and Azar forced to gallop neck and neck on cardboard horses that we spent the night painting in order to supply the action. The first 3 acts, at least, and the final scenes will be played complete as they were written.
And finally, theater itself gets to get up and for once and lecture its audience. You're all lucky to be here. As art stands up boldly and quits performing for its audience, but proudly tells its audience what it's all about. We've all needed our directors and writers to assist us, to sit with us in the audience and enjoy the great privilege it is that I'm actually, in the spirit of this, haven't even started reading. Off stage, setting up very appropriate, because even though it's an easy trick to lay your scene in eternity and, for instance, to have someone shoot off a revolver in the year 1000 and such, here you must accept doors that open. They open out on plains covered with snow falling from a clear sky. Chimneys adorned and clocks splitting open to serve as doors. Palm trees growing at the foot of bedsteads for little elephants sitting on shelves to munch on. As to our orchestra that isn't here, we'll miss only its brilliance and tone. The themes for Ubu will be performed off stage by various pianos and drums. Lucky you, as to the action which is about to begin. It takes place in Poland. That is to say, nowhere.
Okay, now we're going to do a live reading, and the performers hand out these copies to those of you who are so interested.
There's not enough to go around. Please feel free to share. Don't hoard it all to yourself. You should have plenty. If you don't want one, very well.
We're gonna share it, we're buds.
Okay. We have plenty. Sorry about that.
I don't know anything.
I think that too, but.
Okay, what we're going to do is, like I said, A through M's can read this first line without the mark, and the rest of the alphabet, according to your last name, can read the ones with the arrows.
Last name? Last name?
A through M.
Okay. Let the chaos ensue.
Yeah,
We're limited on time.
we'll find a way.
So should we start?
I choose one, really. It's kind of arbitrary.
Non-bragging.
And don't Yes, I do remember that. Some of it. Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay, now what we're going to do, if anybody in the front row wants to read off our sheet, we're going to turn up next to you and read, give us up and read off.
Yeah, why would we be here for you, okay? You're just an audience. We're the art. Good evening. What, are we reading? Yes.
Yeah, we're going to count that. We're not ready. Everybody ready out there?
We're ready.